BBL 851, turn right, heading 180. Order 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
From deliveries with aircraft manufacturers to a new order, if you will, signed by an airline that's starting up and so much more. Stay tuned for all the latest within the aviation industry. And welcome back all. Thank you all so much for the continued support in these videos here on the channel. It is greatly appreciated. We'll begin news surrounding both Boeing and Airbus and their recent peaks in overall performance, but we will begin in the United States with Boeing, who announced their results for the month of March in recent days. The aircraft manufacturer said that it had delivered a total of 29 aircraft in the month of March, and notably, it actually means that it's the second successive month that the US aircraft manufacturer has posted positive net orders, a sign of improvement, and thankfully, in addition, a potential recovery to the aviation industry. However, all round, it was a mostly positive month for Boeing, with a number of orders coming in for their 737 series, that being specifically the 737 MAX aircraft, with major customers like that of Alaska Airlines, United Airlines, and so on announcing additional orders for the aircraft type moving forward. These new contracts that were signed allow the units to arrive sooner than first expected to these respective airlines that I just mentioned. On top of this, Southwest also placed a major order for the Boeing 737 MAX with a total of 100 units. Boeing, however, did see a number of aircraft orders cancelled from airlines around the world, with the likes of Turkish Airlines seeing 12 MAX aircraft cancelled. Other unidentified customers also made the move last month to cancel a number of planes. In the first quarter overall, they saw a total of 77 planes delivered. This is actually up a whopping 50 from the first quarter of 2020, where they only saw 27, which, as we know, as a year overall, it was incredibly damaging for Boeing, not just with the ongoing 737 MAX crisis, which at the time had seen not only the type grounded, but also production and deliveries halted. But on top of that, we saw the emergence of the global pandemic, which adversely impacted aircraft deliveries, as airlines were looking to rather survive than bring on brand new aircraft. Namely, though, this quarter for 2021 was helped with most recently last month deliveries resuming for also the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, which has been plagued by issues after issue to do with the quality assurance on the aircraft, as you've seen me cover here on the channel on numerous occasions, with deliveries resuming for another wide-body aircraft that was seeing deliveries stack up. It's a huge benefit, and we'll see Boeing get a little bit of a surge when it comes to deliveries for that aspect. It's only fitting, though, having given Boeing a spotlight and a segment on this episode, to now head over the pond to Europe, specifically in none other than the northern parts of France in Toulouse, to take a look at Airbus. Airbus in the past couple of months, however, has seen a pretty big drop-off when it comes to orders, but as for their deliveries, that really can't be said for them, with deliveries continuing to surge at a rapid rate upwards. Naturally, for Airbus themselves and all aircraft manufacturers, 2021 isn't a year that'll be totally filled with promise, but with vaccination programs being rolled out worldwide, it will allow the pair and others alike to better judge industry trends and recovery patterns from airlines. With that being said, Airbus booked a total of 39 orders for aircraft at a gross order value of some US $432 million for the month of March, with all of them being for their single-aisle aircraft. However, on top of that, they welcomed in a total, if you will, of 20 cancellations. Welcoming in, though, is probably not the greatest word. It is naturally something that Airbus wants to prevent. The 20 order cancellations actually mean that the total order inflow was at 20 units. The A220 was ordered alongside various members of the A320neo family. We saw customers finally be identified from originally being unidentified for said aircraft as well, but for the most part, a lot of the aircraft orders were simply for unidentified customers that will later be revealed to us, which means yes, they're obviously a big bonus, but as for something to cover, it's pretty uneventful, naturally not having any idea where they are headed. Of course, on top of that, the A320neo family was the most popular when it comes to deliveries. Where Airbus really thrived, though, was the aircraft deliveries during the month of March, with a total of 72 aircraft being delivered to customers, equating to some US $4.6 billion of order value. Naturally, the A320 family being the most popular. However, the A350 series did also feature in the deliveries with a total of 8. 7 of those were for the A350-900, and then we had 1 for the A350-1000. These, though, were the only wide-body units that were delivered to customers for that month, as there were no deliveries for the A330neo, and naturally production is basically shut now for the Airbus A380 with only a few remaining to be delivered. In comparison to Boeing, they saw a total of 77 planes delivered for the first quarter of 2021 to recap, whereas Airbus saw 72 deliveries for the month of March alone. Moving to the United Kingdom, Flypop, which is an airline startup that is currently in the works, has reached an agreement with Airbus to acquire the Airbus A330s. The lease agreement, which was released in a press area on their website, notes that they've signed the deal with Avalon and will see the aircraft join up with them from 2023 at this point, although that is subject to change. The CEO and principal of Flypop said, "As a twin-engine double-aisle widebody that can carry over 400 passengers, the A330-300 aircraft will deliver everything we want to offer our Flypop customers, especially the lowest seat prices to India. With the lease deal, we have been able to submit our AOC license application to the UK Civil Aviation Authority and expect our first flights to commence by October. And many thanks to the UK's government's future fund for its financial assistance, which has enabled us to make further funding. Increased flight connectivity, especially on new routes, will create much-needed economic benefits for both the UK and India." Hinting already at their key markets, the airline is planning to operate out of London's Stansted Airport and fly through to destinations within India. However, it will be on the low-cost sector, and rather than focusing on your biggest airports like that of Mumbai and Bombay and so on, they'll focus on other not-as-served destinations and smaller cities within India. When I say smaller, I mean not as big as somewhere like Mumbai. The carrier said that they want to begin operations later this year at this stage when restrictions allow them to fly into India. However, this is not the first time they've wanted to do such a thing. In fact, on numerous occasions already, the Flypop chief executive has noted at a potential launch, with namely the only other point being in 2016. In early 2016, the chief executive noted that by the end of 2016 they would be flying. That is now some 5 years ago, and boy does time fly. But in the space of 5 years, the airline is still yet to begin operations, and naturally, questions arise over whether or not it is feasible and whether or not they will actually get in the air. So whether or not this actually fabricates into anything remains to be seen as well, but naturally it's an interesting concept, with the carrier focusing more on the passenger over profit, which is actually what the POP stands for, passengers over profit. Now that is again another interesting concept and a business model that is intriguing, but with profit in this day and age being so crucial to an airline's survival, especially in such a dangerous industry like the aviation industry, it means that they're playing quite the dangerous game should they actually get up and flying. Over in the United States, carriers are continuing to look to boost their overall domestic network as the vaccination rollout continues. With this rollout and customers desperate to begin traveling again for a number of reasons, the summer schedule is shaping up to be one of the most crucial. American Airlines has said that on top of its already extensive route network, they'll add a further 17 new routes to their operations, and are planning on operating exactly the same domestic capacity and network as of what they did back in 2019 prior to the pandemic, which is a massively positive sign and encouraging to us. The Boeing 777s will also be used on domestic services across the country, namely from the west to east coast and back, to further boost total capacity as the American industry returns to somewhat normality. That concludes another one of these aviation news recap videos. If you have any thoughts on the subjects covered, whether it be Flypop or Airbus and Boeing, feel free to drop it in the comment section below, and like always, I look forward to you all joining me in the next video. Please take care and be safe.